I am responding to this request. Please define points in electrical and the regulated cost. I will define points. There is no such regulated cost that I'm aware of, except for suggested rates by the Incorporated Master Builders Association. They are not given per point. In Jamaica, we have a standard by which we measure. If someone should ask me if per point is wrong, it is not inherently wrong, but it's an old method for labor that is not accurate. It is very easy for people to just count the points because they can see them on a drawing and say, okay, one this, one that, and they count them up and they put a rate and that's it. But it's not accurate. Let me define what's a point. A point in electrical installation is anywhere wires are terminated, where you end and connect. So you have a source of power there. It is either for use or for control. A point is like a switch, a plug with double socket, a light point, air condition point where you connect, the stove point, the panel, breaker points in the panel. You have the junction box, which is a point. So points are anywhere wires end and you can access power from it. So the power is either for you to control or to use. You can use the power from the point. So that is what determines a point. Also included in points are potted. Earthing is also a point. Electrical is actually measured by the Jamaica Standard Method of Measurements in Jamaica, primarily by way of the conduits and the wiring in linear measurements per meter or per foot. And you describe the size. Based on the size pipe or wire, the rate would differ. So the bigger the pipe or the bigger the wire, the higher the rate, and so on. Then the other connections are enumerated. You count them. So for couplings and straps and ends and all the other things that you're going to use, you count them up. Then for the fixtures that you're going to use, those are also enumerated. You count them. You charge to install those separately. The reason why per point is not accurate is because it does not account for the variation in distances and the complication of the work. So for example, if you have a client with a panel board and a socket 2 meters away, per point you'd be charging that client the same rate, whatever it is, how much $1,000 for 2 meters away. And you charge another client who has a panel board and a socket 5 meters away the same rate. There's no equity in that. So somebody is losing. It could be the electrician that is losing. So in many cases, people think that it's the client that's losing. Not all cases, the client is losing. Sometimes the electrician is losing because if you don't know how to measure the work, then you're just charging arbitrarily. There are rates going around, but that is not how it is measured, and it's not given in the manual like that. So if you buy the manual, you'll have to figure out how to use that. Frisky. This is something that I've always had to wrestle with electricians with because it's common out there and they're going to give you their rates per point. I break down their rate into the measurements that are provided. So whenever I'm pricing a bills of quantity, when I get one with accurate measurements and not points, I have to do a whole conversion to be able to price it. The manual is going to be difficult for someone who is not trained to figure out how to apply it to the situation that's happening out there. It does not count also for the different conditions under which the conduits are being used. Whether you're doing it in floor, you have to chase walls, or you have to excavate to run it. All of those things are not picked up. This may not have been the answer that most people were expecting, but I hope this was helpful. Remember to share the content, follow me for more, like it, and engage me in the comments. If you have elaborated, complicated questions, you may need a consultation. So look in my bio for my link tree. My calendar is there. You can book an appointment. Thanks for watching. See you next time.